In this video, I'll show you how to find the shaded area on cylinders, and it's all in my book, Ellen's Guide to Casting Shadows, on Amazon. Let's go through the anatomy of a cylinder shadow. So we have a cylinder with its ellipse on top and an ellipse on the bottom, and the minor axes of the ellipses line up with the axis of the cylinder. The light ray goes through the tangent points on the top of the cylinder here and here, and they go to tangent points on the shadow ellipse here and here. The middle of the shadow goes through the middle of the base right here, and here too the middle of the shadow goes through the middle of the base. Now notice also that these red lines connecting the tangent points are either parallel or converging. When shading cylinders, you can use looping that represents the ellipses in the cylinder. If the cylinder is shiny, you could use strokes parallel to the sides. So when you cross-hatch a cylinder, combine lines following the linear edges and curves following the round contour. And they need to be relatively parallel to keep the cylinder from looking distorted. Now, if the cylinder is hollow, like here, draw lines through the center to find areas of similar values. So, for example, 1 and 2 are both light, whereas 3 and 4 are much darker, because you can find them by going through the center. Put the light areas off-center, though, so they don't line up vertically, since that would be confusing. To find the shade line on a cylinder, line it up with its circular base on plan, and then draw light rays that make the same angle with the horizontal, here about 30 degrees. Then draw a diameter that's perpendicular to the light. That's very important. And then find the ends of the diameter and follow these up. And this would be the shade line in back. And if you followed this one up, you would find the shade line in front of this cylinder. Now, when two plan views are aligned like this one, then the light ray from the upper one defines the direction of the shadow, whereas the light ray from the lower one tells us where the end of the shadow should be. Now, in this case, I combined the two views. So we had the plan view here with the circle. We have the diameter that's perpendicular to the light. And the red dots mark the shade line in back and the shade line in front. So here again, I line up the cylinder with the circle and plan. And I draw the light ray in both views. And we see that the light ray here is 30 degrees. So I need to draw a light ray here of 30 degrees. Then I find the diameter that's perpendicular to the light and find both ends of the diameter on the circle. And this one marks the shade line in front, and this one marks the shade line in back. And you can see that I did the same thing with this tower. To find the shadow on a vertical cone, line up the base of the cone with the circle in plan. And then draw the light rays, here 45 degrees and here 45 degrees. Now this one doesn't hit the measuring line, but from number 2, you can draw a vertical down until you meet this light ray from the center of the circle. Then draw a radius that's perpendicular to the sides of the cone. So that's different from cylinders. This one is perpendicular to the side. And then we take this point and go up, and that would be the shade line in back. And if we follow this point up to number 7, we get the shade line in front. Here again, I want to find this shade line, number 4, on a vertical cone. So what I have is the elevation view of the cone, I have the plan view of the cone, and I have the shadow, and we're trying to find the shade line. So first draw the light direction from the middle of the circle, and it stops when it reaches the top of this cone. Then draw the sides of the cone that are tangent to the circle at point 1 and point 5. Then draw a line from point 1 vertically up to point 2, and that marks the position of this shade line in number 4. Here on number 5, draw a vertical line down to the base of the circle, and this will be the shade line in back. Here are the two ways of finding the shade line on a cone. So in the first one, we found the light direction. We found the radius that's perpendicular to the sides of the cone, and that gives us 0.4 on the circle and 0.5 on the circle, and we follow those up to find the shade line on the cone. Now in the second case, we have the light direction, we have the radii that are still perpendicular to the sides, but this time, for example, number 1, we have to take it vertically up to number 2 to find this shade line for number 4. And if we want to find the shade line in back, we go vertically down from number 5 to number 6, and this would be the shade line in back. Please remember to subscribe and take a look at my book on Amazon, Ellen's Guide to Casting Shadows.